You're not coming up to the other side. You staying down here, are you?
All day until 4 p.m. Rain all night.
Hey, we just...
Peligroso para mí. Me río del peligro.
Estos güeyes no tienen aquí. Como audífono, le pones el idioma. Asiática.
Sí, ¿no? Está chistoso, no sé. Está súper chistoso.
Es que todo es
Eso
peligroso.
es
El Lola.
racismo.
Lola.
No, racismo, güey.
De que
Así
de...
que no, es que hay mucho grande alta afuera en el sur y por eso es peligroso.
Pues no es racismo.
Pero también es una realidad, ¿no?
Sí, un poco, porque pues justo los viven
No
allá
dices,
en la isla.
no dices, Tepito es... No estás diciendo que hay racismo por decir que Tepito es inseguro, güey.
Pero
O
cuando
sea-
te preguntan por qué, no dicen solo porque están afuera. No, bueno,
Pues sí.
no dicen nada más que
No, pero ella dijo, porque están estos güeyes. Yo te diría, porque están los chacas, güey.
yo en Fiji no sentí, o sea, no me dio la impresión.
A ver, que nos salimos.
Ajá, mi jefe es Fiji Indian y ese güey me decía, está bien cabrón. Donde yo vivo hay un chingo de droga y así. Y está todo tatuado, tiene sus 3 puntitos así también.
Pero aquí me imagino que
Sí, güey, o sea...
debe
pero-
ser una mamada.
pero no, la verdad es que sí hay lugares donde sí está culero. Y aparte con cuchillo, güey, así te la clavan.
Aquí.
Aquí en Melbourne, güey, también.
Pues como en toda ciudad creo que hay su zona.
Claro.
O sea, tiene que
Por
haber
eso hay que
zona.
preguntar
Sí.
qué zona es.
Ajá, tiene
ya.
que haber.
A menos
Hay
que
zonas en
tengan
cualquier
que
ciudad en la que
hacer
no puedes usar, no deberías
Es el
usar.
market place que yo
Pues sí. Sí, aquí y en
Sí,
todos lados.
todos lados.
Pero la ciudad yo creo que está, o sea, no la más segura, pero...
Ya voy a dejar de decir aquí en China, voy a decir aquí en Australia. Mira, ese es un diablito un scooter.
¿Dónde?
Ahorita lo ves, ahorita que avanza el bus.
Es online, pero tiene asiento como de un soldado así.
¿Cuánto crees que cuesta uno?
¿Con el asiento?
Me está preguntando a mí, de hecho.
¿Con el asiento?
Sí.
Bueno, no sé, este cabrón seguramente
me
sabe
dijo
los
que-
precios
que
de
vio que
Nueva
estaba
Zelanda
viendo
y de
Amazon.
Australia.
Seguramente tú también de Nueva Zelanda, tú ni conocías Nueva Zelanda.
Ah, mira. A ver, pregúntale.
No, nada más quería que lo vieras.
Hoy se
Mira,
levantaron
mira,
por
mira,
el
ahí
izquierdo,
está,
¿verdad? Ah, sí, tiene más.
Y la neta sí iba bien cómoda la doña.
Pero de hecho, a los patines estos después de instalar el asiento,
Seguro.
se les instala, pero es como una madre, se le pone a la base y ya tiene un pinche asiento. Pero no necesitas asiento.
No,
Porque
no.
si le pones asiento ya no lo puedes doblar
No.
para guardarlo.
A la cinta, güey. Sí, esta, güey.
¿Están enfermitos? ¿Se sienten enfermos? Algo así como down.
Sí, andamos down, pero no. Como que estábamos en la línea.
por allá?
Sí, nos toca a nosotros.
Pues, fácil.
Yo pensé que el coach pasamos y
Sí es.
¿Qué es esta madre?
Ah, es un table.
¿En serio?
Ah, cuando vinimos a cenar, estaban ahí unas bailarines.
¿De qué nacionalidad parecían?
¿Como de aquí?
Ah, sí.
yo no traía lentes, entonces no los vi. Solo las vi.
Hay una muy rubia y muy blanca. Una blanca.
Una blanca muy rubia.
Una rubia muy blanca.
Sí, pues es que este es el centro turístico.
¿No hay Denis en Australia?
Nunca la había escuchado.
No, o sea, no lo he visto.
Sí, es súper gringo. De hecho, ahí desayunamos todos los días en San Francisco.
¿Qué tal estuvo?
En Estados Unidos está más rico.
Como que aquí quisieron hacer el mismo concepto, pero no. Pues ahí.
¿Y no te explica?
Sí, güey, qué pedo.
Ah, ya cambiaron al. Ese es el que venía manejando.
Este güey pegó su celular ahí.
Sí.
Ah, y luego va a haber el tour.
Luego ya.
Y luego ya lo
Ya luego ahorita vemos. Al rato. Nada más viene pues que no se lo
A su
chingue.
derecha tienen el Denis, un lugar para desayunar, cenar, comer 24 horas.
Gringo de baja calidad.
A la izquierda tenemos el Hush Hush. ¿Qué es
Putero,
Esteban? ¡Ay, andan bien gallos!
pelos. Podemos ver pelos.
Y mantequilla.
Y mantequilla.
Y pancakes. Ah, los waffles fueron de aquí, ¿les gustaron?
Sí, sí,
Ah,
está
está
rico.
rico. Sí, estaba bueno. ¿Han probado waffles con pollo y honey? Miel.
A mí me gusta con tocino y miel.
Ah, pues es casi lo mismo.
Es la
No,
misma
pero
madre.
pollo.
Es lo
como
mismo, es
pollito.
salado.
Bueno, nunca lo he probado.
Es como un pollito apanado, ¿no? Como un pollito.
Como honey.
Honey chicken.
Sí. Ajá.
Pero con waffle, güey. No mames,
¿A ti no te gusta?
o sea, no me levanto queriendo
Pensando.
Pensando. A mí no me gustó tanto. ¿Será que el día que los comí le pusieron muchísima miel y ya era?
Ah, sí, mucho, ¿no?
Sí. En Australia.
¿En dónde?
En Sanquila. Fuimos con Kate un día a comer en Sanquila. Y los pedí.
No, pues no estoy.
Sí te conté. Te dije conmigo.
¿Se conocen desde que llegaste?
Yo llegué y sí, 2 semanas después llegó Don Sexten.
Oh, señor.
2 semanas o 2 semanas.
That's the same Matthews in the city, right next to
Esta es la catedral.
No tengo idea.
Señora guía turística.
Mira, tenemos unos conos.
A ver, Isa.
Ahí hay un centro de yoga muy importante. Se fundó hace 2 años por la Yogi Master.
Porque acabó el COVID.
Que está bien buena, por cierto.
Tiene una elasticidad.
Oye, como que esta calle se me hace conocida.
Por ahí tenemos el jardín botánico.
No, todo derecho es el jardín botánico.
Oye,
ahí
no
están
explican,
las-
sí deberías de preguntarle, güey. ¿Qué nos
Kia
explica?
ora. Hi. Welcome to the Auckland Explorer
Ay,
bus.
hijos de su
We're
puta
delighted to show you around our city, where you'll find a rare mix of urban excitement and natural scenic beauty. We're not the only ones who think Auckland's unique. International surveys consistently rate the city as one of the world's best places to live. Enjoy your tour today. Hop off at any stop and explore at your own pace. Then hop on the next bus and keep going. Our commentary shed. Adrenaline junkies, start your engines. You'll find your choice of thrills at Auckland Sky Tower, the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere. This stop is the Sky Tower and Sky City Precinct. Hop off for incredible views, hair-raising thrills, dining, the All Blacks experience and Weta Workshop Unleashed.
Creo que se quedó por ahí. Dijo que es uno de los mejores lugares para vivir. Pero señora, ¿dónde? Sigue explicando.
Dime el suburbio.
Dígame el lugar. Que ya me está dando.
Al colombiano.
The
nervioso.
next stop will be the Art Gallery. Stop here for Queen Street, Albert Park, the Civic Theatre and the Town Hall.
Qué difícil decisión. Yo no le creería al colombiano.
Era chileno.
Ah, chileno. Bueno, no sé. Ya no sé.
Esa de yoyoso será como miniso. Parece. Sí. Sí, ajá. Sí, hay una. Creo que sí.
Ah, por aquí bajamos, ¿no? Es la...
5 Avenue.
Hola, bebé. Hola, muñeca.
Estoy trabajando.
Conociendo Auckland, ¿no?
I'm working.
¿Qué pasó?
Mira, Albert Park. Es el jardín botánico de los niños.
¿Dónde?
For your safety, passengers must remain seated whenever the bus is in motion, when the bus is stopped at traffic lights and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all times.
¿Y tú dónde estabas? Mañana no puedo ir a trabajar.
We can now see New Zealand's largest university, the University of Auckland. When it opened in 1883, it had only 4 professors and 95 students attending class in an old courthouse and jail. Today, the university has 5 campuses across Auckland, over 40,000 students, and it consistently ranks in the top 100 universities worldwide. The University of Auckland may also have the world's cutest university crest. It shows 3 kiwi birds running over blue waves.
No le avisaron a nadie entonces que papi está lastimado el brazo. Sí. Ahorita no estoy bien porque estoy en este.
Our next stop will be the Newmarket shopping district.
Sí, ¿qué compraste de comer? ¿Qué compraron de comer? Por eso hay que decirle a la tía Ruth que más bien les lleve comida.
99% of these species grow nowhere else on Earth. New Zealand has so many great places to visit that our holidays usually involve road trips. In just a minute, we're going to get on New Zealand's longest road, State Highway 1. I've always dreamed about driving State Highway 1 from start to finish. It runs from Cape Reinga at the tip of the North Island, all the way down to Bluff, the southernmost point of the South Island. The total distance is 2,047 kilometres or 1,272 miles, including a car ferry that connects the two islands. Maori say that in the beginning, Ranganui, the sky, lay embracing his wife, Papatuanuku, the earth. Their children lay between them in darkness, unable to separate their parents. One of them, Tane Mahuta, placed his shoulders against his mother and pressed his feet against his father, pushing them apart with all his strength. When the children first saw daylight, they became gods. Tawhiri Mātia, the god of winds and storms, never wanted his parents separated. He still sends storms to punish Tane Mahuta, the god of people and forests.
God of forest. No, este güey es el video más aburrido de la historia, güey.
Sí. Amigos, si traduces eso, una disculpa. Spanish, español.
Esto es como el este, sí, ¿verdad?
Oye, y así es un TikToker famoso.
Si alguien sabe quién
Pinche
es
video le da.
Más bien, nos van a vetar.
Qué bueno, qué bueno.
Qué bueno.
Que nos vete.
4 millones de likes.
Maldito.
Somos de Colombia, somos de Colombia.
No, él es tira. Nosotros podríamos ser de Colombia. Ajá,
Un
exacto.
puto granero de mierda. Se limpia con las manos. Y caga en un hoyo. Y aparte ni hay papel, en esos pinches baños de ahí.
No sé,
Sí hay.
sí, pero hay agüita.
Qué puta madre.
Pero dice que es mejor con agüita.
Sí.
Que de hecho nosotros estamos mal con papel.
Pero espérame, o sea, ponen
The
una
largest
puta
kauri
cubeta.
in New Zealand is called Tane Mahuta, the lord of the forest.
Y
As
aparte,
tall as a 17-story building, this tree may have sprouted more than 1,500 years ago. Kauri trees are protected from logging operations today, but they're threatened by a fungus-like disease called Kauri dieback. Once they're infected, it's too late to save them. To help preserve these rare and majestic trees, please clean your footwear, tyres and equipment before and after visiting a place where kauri grow, and stay on the paths or walkways to avoid stepping on the tree roots.
¿Es qué?
Lo dice caos, hunt, casa. If you are dead. Lo dice caos, panic and disorder. My work here is done.
Órale. Amigo de... ¿Qué?
Que no, yo no leo. Caos, pánico y desorden. Mi trabajo.
Ay, ya estás... Has sido. Ajá.
Trabajo
Ha terminado.
Y el otro es, dice casa si tú si estás muerto. O sea, no sé, como que están muy... Qué raro, sí. Me hubiera encantado ver la cara de quién.
Y así una abuelita, güey.
Muéranse todos.
Con una escopeta.
Tatuada en la cara.
Odio,
Oh, qué sexy.
Sí, Manuel era así, con la verja parada.
odio odiar. Estas casitas se ven así bonitas, ¿no? Pero por dentro están súper pequeñas.
Y de la verga, güey.
Y viejitas, ajá.
Nissan 112 es
Sí,
una, güey.
sí.
Porque, o sea, dijeron, son nuevas, no hay pedo, pero güey, ya
No,
llevan
están-
30 años y ya la madera ya se...
Ya está toda aguada. No, ya te van a meter una.
Welcome to Newmarket. Newmarket
me la
was
estoy
strategically
saboreando.
important to the various iwi that occupy the land here.
Te vas a hincar.
Local Maori knew
No,
this
vas a
area
dejar
as
los
Te
pies.
Ki Tūtahi,
voy
meaning
a dejar
sacred
seguir
cabbage
con
tree
mi vida.
standing alone. This cabbage tree was a landmark for those travelling between the Manukau and Waitemata harbours. Sadly, it was cut down in 1908 as it was considered a danger to the children attending the local school. The precinct housed cattle yards, market gardens, breweries, sawmills, bakers, ironmongers, and general retail. People gathered here to buy and sell their wares. Today, Newmarket has transformed into an upscale shopping precinct where you'll find an abundance of designer fashion boutiques and shoe stores. Nuffield Street Broadway and the stylish Westfield shopping mall make Newmarket the ultimate destination for shopping, fun and relaxation. Along Nuffield Lane, you will also find trendy independent galleries showcasing local Kiwi
Y
artists and
aparte, a veces
designers.
sale ya a las 12 de la noche, güey.
No, pues sí, no.
Mira, ya llegó el Chanel. No sé qué más,
Es que me
No,
faltó
no quieren
una
bajar
una gorra, una
una
gorra.
sudaderita. Mira,
This
estos
stop
son los
is
mismos
Newmarket.
perros que en
Hop
San
off here to
Francisco. Es
shop in
como
one of
una copia de
Britain's
San
premier
Francisco.
fashion, retail and entertainment precincts. This stop is Newmarket.
Qué bueno que nos vienen acá atrás, güey. Frente pega el sol.
Sí, va.
Bien cabrón.
Pero ya nos cambiamos.
Yo igual no, yo igual sí me voy a pasar por acá. Pero está bien. ¿Te quedas? Ay, tú dijiste tú prefieres.
No más en China porque me está chingando. No, me tengo que vender.
No mames.
For your safety, passengers must remain seated whenever the bus is in motion, when the bus is stopped at traffic lights and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all
¿Lo
times.
dicen por ustedes?
Ajá, que se tienen que solo se pueden parar cuando esté en rojo.
¿Cómo?
Que solo te puedes parar cuando esté en rojo. Cuando esté detenido, que no te pares cuando esté.
Ah, ¿lo dijeron ahí abajo?
Lo dijo el otro.
Ah, no se paren. Que solo se pueden parar.
¿En serio lo dijo? ¿Nos regañó?
Ujú. Que solamente se pueden cambiar si está en rojo. Saluda a la cámara, saluda.
Es Newskies.
Es que también es como tu dibujo,
Sí.
Ah, miren, ese sí tienen audífonos, güey.
Ay, ese está más chingón.
La
Este sí está
cagaron.
bien culero, güey.
La cagaron. Y caro como la chingada. Bueno, no tampoco.
Pues, güey,
500.
sale más barato esta madre que un Uber por toda la ciudad, ¿no? Ah, no.
Sí.
No,
sí.
güey.
Sí.
Porque pagamos $200, güey. Entre
los
todos.
4.
Mejor compramos un pinche Uber y que nos diera la vuelta.
Our next stop will be the Auckland War Memorial Museum.
Y lo
All
dejamos en el
Memorial
aeropuerto,
Museum.
güey.
All
Exacto, nos hubiéramos
Museum.
ahorrado el Uber.
All Memorial Museum.
Looking for traditional New Zealand food? We have at least 5 sheep for every human, so you can't go wrong eating good New Zealand lamb. Or try hangi. Hangi is a traditional Māori method of cooking. Food is traditionally wrapped in leaves that are placed on hot stones at the bottom of a hole. The food is then covered with a wet cloth and earth, which traps the heat around the food and cooks it until it's juicy and delicious.
Como barbacoa.
We New Zealanders call ourselves Kiwis after the small brown flightless kiwi bird. More flightless birds evolved here than anywhere else on Earth, including the takahe and kakapo. Until humans arrived, the birds of New Zealand had no major predators or competition for food, except for other birds. So some species protected themselves by staying close to the ground. The Māori hunted several flightless species to extinction, including the giant moa. Early settlers also introduced rats, pigs, and other mammals that threatened the birds. Protecting our flightless species is and will continue to be a major battle in wildlife conservation. Auckland's parks and gardens are a good place to spot one of our most beloved birds, and one of the noisiest. The tui uses an impressive vocabulary of songs, grunts, coughs, wheezes, and screams to mark its territory and frighten other birds away. Tui look black from a distance, but up close you can see their iridescent blue, green, and bronze feathers, and a white tuft at their throat. They often show off by flying above the forest canopy, then diving straight down, whirring their wings and vocalizing madly.
No, pero sí está mejor aquí. Mira el lugar que nos canceló. En San Francisco, güey, Teslas como 8, cabrón. Impresionante, güey.
So many of my favourite memories happen where we're headed next, the Auckland Domain. The site was known as Pukikawa by Māori before being gifted to the new town of Auckland.
O sea, ya se
In
estaba manejando, no había
1845, the
ningún
park
chofer.
became known as the Auckland Domain.
Era un jaguar.
Look around as we drive into the 75-hectare green space. You'll see gardens, greenhouses, sculptures, sports fields,
es el
and
museo.
rows of
The War
trees with
Museum.
trails winding through
La
them.
casita presidencial.
We'll climb to the high point
The War
where the
Museum.
Auckland War Memorial Museum is located. Then circle all the way around the museum to our next stop. Along the way, you might notice the odd shape of the landscape. That's because we're driving through the crater of an extinct volcano. Here's where early Māori built a fortified village called a pa, as they did on many of our volcanoes. Auckland Domain used to be a place where Māori came for protection. Now, everyone comes here for recreation, entertainment, enlightenment, and fun. In front of the Auckland War Memorial Museum stands a monument to New Zealand soldiers who lost their lives in wartime. Inside the museum, you can learn about New Zealand's military history and see the world's leading collection of exhibits about Pacific culture, including an authentic Māori waka or war canoe and an ancestral meeting house. Take a close-up look at our unique natural history, including flightless birds like the giant moa, an extinct species that stood up to 3 meters or almost 10 feet tall. Experience the terror in Auckland today if one of our volcanoes erupted again. or trace the evolution of New Zealand design and decorative arts.
Bajé la app
There's
para
even a heartwarming history of childhood in this country and an interactive hands-on gallery just for kids. This stop is Auckland War Memorial Museum. Hop off here to explore. There's something for everyone.
Detectan los stops. No, está cabrón.
En la cosa que tienen arriba sale una pantallita y te salen monitos caminando cuando hay gente caminando enfrente de
Como su cerebrito. Está cagado.
que te explican de los maoris y así.
En Canadá también el War Museum está chido. De Ottawa.
War.
War.
Ah, War.
For your safety, passengers must remain seated whenever the bus is in motion, when the bus is stopped at traffic lights and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all times. The first Anglican Bishop of New Zealand, George Augustus Selwyn, arrived in 1842. You can trace his legacy at our next stop, where you'll find two unique and inspiring churches, Holy Trinity Cathedral and the Church of St Mary's. Bishop Selwyn came to establish a church for British colonists and supervise missionary work for the Maori. He also purchased the land where these churches stand today to fulfill his dream of building a cathedral. When we arrive, you'll see a striking modern building with a glass wall and three sharp peaks in the roofline. This is the Bishop Selwyn Chapel, a recent addition to Holy Trinity. There's no cost to enter the cathedral, and inside you will see incredible stained glass windows and an altar made of native kauri wood. Holy Trinity replaced the earlier Cathedral St Mary's, which dates back to the 1880s. Once the new cathedral was built, St Mary's was lifted up, placed on rollers and moved. Yes, the whole building. So it would sit behind Holy Trinity. That was quite the spectacle to see. It's well worth your time to explore the warm, inviting interior of St Mary's, which is constructed entirely from kauri wood.
Ah, sí. Entonces, ¿estamos ya atravesamos el puente? No.
Y a ver.
Por aquí está. Creo que la ciudad está bien para
This stop is Holy Trinity. Hop off to tour the cathedral and the Church of St Mary's. Village. Sure, Aucklanders love tramping around the beaches in the native bush, but don't get the wrong impression. This is a city of over 1.6 million. About a third of the nation's population lives here, and we like our big city fun, like going out for a meal and shopping. Our next stop is an only in Auckland experience, with quaint little cafes, art galleries and shops specialising in handcrafted gifts. It's called Parnell Village, a beautifully restored old neighbourhood where you can wander along brick and wooden walkways, past flowering plants, relax over a cuppa, tea and scones, and shop for gifts made of native woods, sheepskin and New Zealand greenstone. Parnell Village was the brainchild of Les Harvey, who restored this district back in the 1970s using all recycled materials. Every time I come here, it feels like stepping back in time to a friendlier age where life still happens on a human scale. This stop is Parnell Village. This is your stop for restaurants, cafes, art galleries and high-end craft shops. Parnell Village is this stop.
Aquí está bonito, ¿eh? Aquí está bonito.
Pueden comprar artesanías y así cosillas.
Halo.
Pues aquí comen los dos.
Ahora va.
Safety, passengers must remain seated whenever the bus is in motion, when the bus is stopped at traffic lights and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all times. From here we head along the waterfront to Takaparafo, Bastion Point. New Zealand greenstone is not just beautiful, but filled with meaning. This semi-precious stone, also called jade, nephrite or pornamu, comes in a variety of colours. In Māori beliefs, pornamu jewellery absorbs the spiritual essence of whoever wears it, taking on greater power as it's handed down across the generations, a link to the power of the ancestors. It's one of the many lovely New Zealand-made souvenirs you can purchase as a gift to take back home with you. Did you come to New Zealand to see or do something specifically? Or are you just on a tiki tour? Tiki tour is Kiwi slang. It means to go on a journey with no particular destination in mind, or to take the long way to reach a destination. New Zealanders call going on a hike tramping, and corner stores are dairies. When something delights us, we sometimes exclaim, "Sweet as!" Another slang expression you'll hear a lot of is, "Yeah, nah," a short way of saying, "I acknowledge what you said, but I disagree." on strings. Originally an exercise to develop wrist strength, sometimes groups of performers compete in songs and dances with traditional music, speech, movement and facial expressions. Kapahaka festivals like Polyfest and Te Matatini draw gigantic audiences from across the Pacific, both live and on TV. Of Auckland building stands on the same spot as the city's first airport. The planes used to land on the water. In 1939, Tasman Empire Airways Limited, or TEL, began regular passenger and freight services using seaplanes, meaning planes that could take off from and land on the water. You can still take a seaplane tour for the most thrilling views of New Zealand from the sky and sea. Gulf sits a large island that pretty much covers the entire entrance to our harbour. That's Rangitoto, a volcano that rose out of the sea in a fiery eruption 600 years ago, which makes it Auckland's youngest volcano. Over the eons, dozens of volcanoes erupted along the fault. That's what created the dramatic landscape of islands and grassy, cone-shaped hills that you see today. You'll have an amazing view of Rangitoto from our next stop on Bastion Point. A photo opportunity you won't want to miss. Rangitoto is a 25-minute ferry trip from the city. The track to the island summit takes you past the lava fields with tunnels and caves and through the world's largest Pohutakawa forest. When you get to the top, you'll be rewarded with an awe-inspiring panoramic view of Auckland and the islands in the Gulf. We're passing some large, spreading trees called Pohutakawa. You'll often see them lining our waterfront, but they're just as happy clinging to rocky cliffs and slopes. It's easiest to spot them when they're in bloom and absolutely covered with bright red flowers. This starts around mid-November each year and lasts till Christmas. For New Zealanders, the Pohutakawa is a colourful symbol of Christmas and summer fun. Auckland has owned more recreational vessels per capita than any city on Earth. We also spend more time at the beach because no matter where you are in Auckland, there's always one nearby. We have 3,200 kilometres or nearly 2,000 miles of coastline, including the islands of the Hauriki Gulf. That includes peaceful white sand beaches of the South Pacific along our east coast, or rugged black sand beaches to the west on the shores of the Tasman. Be warned though, we do get rough surf and riptides along the west coast. Always check with the beach patrol before you go in the water. Lovely Beach is part of Auckland's beautiful east coast. On the inland side, the houses overlooking the bay are some of the city's priciest real estate. My dad used to say that true Aucklanders are born with sand between their toes. Beaches are part of our lifestyle. Aucklanders seize every chance to go swimming, surfing, paddleboarding and sunbathing. We love living in our togs and jandals. That's New Zealand slang. Togs means a bathing suit, and jandals are footwear you call thongs or flip-flops. Tarlton's aquarium. Please note, we will not be stopping here in this direction, but we will stop at Tarlton's on our return trip from Bastion Point. Bastion Point, known to the Māori as Takaparafo. In the 1970s and 1980s, Takaparafo was the focus of occupations and demonstrations by protesters who were asking the government to return the land to its rightful owners, the Ngāti Whātua tribe, or iwi. Back in 1885, Ngāti Whātua had agreed to temporarily hand over this land, or whenua, to the New Zealand government. But the government didn't honour their side of the agreement and never gave the whenua back to Ngāti Whātua. This came to a head in 1976 when the Prime Minister of the day announced his intention to sell the whenua for luxury housing development. Joe Hawke, a prominent Ngāti Whātua leader, organised a group that set up camp and occupied the area for 506 days until the government sent in the army and police to evict the group. 222 people were arrested that day, and their gardens and buildings were demolished. Joe Hawke and his group never gave up on their quest to have their whenua returned. Eventually, in 1987, the Waitangi Treaty Tribunal made a historic decision, ordering the government to return the whenua to Ngāti Whātua. Today, you can enjoy the beautiful open grounds with their breathtaking views over the harbour and the islands of the Hauriki Gulf. You can also take time to explore the monument built in honour of Michael Savage, one of our beloved Prime Ministers from 1935 to 1940. This stop is Takaparafo Bastion Point. Hop off here for some amazing photo opportunities. Takaparafo Bastion Point. This stop. safety, passengers must remain seated whenever the bus is in motion, when the bus is stopped at traffic lights, and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all times. Our next stop will be Sea Life Kelly Tarlton's Aquarium. Tarlton had a passion for scuba diving that he wanted to share with the world. He imagined building a transparent tunnel on the ocean floor where the public could see the magnificent creatures of the deep from a diver's point of view. This dream became a reality at Sea Life Kelly Tarlton's Aquarium, our next stop. You'll enter the aquarium through one of its most fascinating exhibits, a replica of the 1911 wooden hut that sheltered a team of Antarctic explorers led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott. You'll experience firsthand the cramped quarters filled with scientific specimens and photographs collected by one of the first land explorations of Antarctica. Nearby, you'll find some of Antarctica's most famous residents, king penguins. Every year, it's a treat to watch the fledgling penguins make their first attempt to waddle through the snow. You may find yourself thinking of the adorable Mumble in the 2006 movie Happy Feet. You'll also encounter eels, sharks, turtles, stingrays, octopuses, seahorses, and dozens more sea creatures, large and small. No visit to Auckland is complete without a trip to Kelly Tarlton's. Explore the underwater viewing tunnels and the world's largest exhibit of Antarctic king penguins. Sea Life Kelly Tarlton's Aquarium. This stop. When the bus is stopped at traffic lights and in stationary traffic. If you are travelling aboard one of our open top buses, please ensure your hands, arms and head remain inside the bus at all times. With so little space in the city, you may wonder why there aren't more buildings in the green space that we're passing now. All you'll see is a church and an urupa, also known as a cemetery. Originally, the Ngāti Whātua Iwi had a settlement here. However, the city council thought the land was valuable real estate, and in 1952, they moved the residents to state houses on the hill above us. After moving the residents, the city council decided to burn down the village to remove all traces before a royal visit by the Queen. only the little Urupa was left of the land that Ngāti Whātua called their own. Today, the area is held in a reserve as a park that can be enjoyed by all. As the lands are considered sacred or tapu by Māori, under New Zealand law, no one can ever build or develop the land here. Our last stop will be near the waterfront in downtown Auckland. It's the perfect place to enjoy fresh sea breezes over a glass of wine. If you look straight across the harbour to the north shore, you'll see the small seaside hub of Devonport. Browse the art galleries and shops in this quaint Victorian seaside village while you drink in extraordinary views of downtown Auckland. Devonport sits on a peninsula with 2 volcanic peaks. Our nation is officially bilingual, so these mountains have names in both Māori and English. That's Takarunga, Mount Victoria in the centre, and out by the point is Mangawika, North Head. You might also catch a glimpse of one of our naval vessels across the harbour near Devonport, where the Royal New Zealand Navy has a training and support facility. There are regular ferry boats to Devonport, just a 15-minute ride from the downtown Auckland waterfront. It's worth visiting the North Head Historic Reserve, a defence post built during the Russian scare of the 1870s. North Head had the job of guarding Auckland, along with the islands of the Hauriki Gulf, just outside the Waitemata Harbour. You can explore the gun batteries and fortifications, along with the underground tunnels that run beneath the site. North Head also has some of the best views of the Auckland skyline. Every day. This is also where our exports leave the country. Billions of dollars worth of New Zealand meat, dairy products and timber ship out of here for China, Australia, South Korea and the United States. Whenever I get the chance, I stroll or jog along the waterfront so I can watch the port at work. Rose from the ocean floor to the surface millions of years ago. There's a Maori tale of the demigod Maui, a trickster who caught a giant fish that became the North Island. Maui's brothers began cutting off pieces of the fish, carving the ridges and valleys that you see in the landscape today. Their waka, or canoe, became the South Island. Surrounds us, isolating us from the outside world. This was one of the last lands on Earth where humans settled. The Maori tell of a bold explorer named Kupe who discovered Aotearoa, New Zealand, while chasing an octopus away from Hawaii, the legendary island where the world began. Archaeologists date the first Maori settlements to be at least 800 years ago. What moved them to pilot their waka so far from the known world? The same spirit of adventure and discovery you'll find in New Zealand today. More explorers followed, like Abel Tasman from the Netherlands and Captain James Cook from Britain. The Europeans who quote, unquote, discovered New Zealand. The story of the vessels that sailed here from around the world and the hopeful immigrants on board inspired Hui Te Anaui a Tangaroa, the New Zealand Maritime Museum. It's a fabulous, family-friendly look at our bond with the ocean. From the first landfall to the America's Cup, with historic vessels, artworks, scale models and more. You'll find the Maritime Museum located in the Viaduct Harbour. We are approaching Britomart, one of Auckland's trendiest districts. It's named for the HMS Britomart, the British brig that raised the Union Jack over Auckland for the first time in 1840. Now, Aucklanders and visitors flock to Britomart for fun. You'll find everything from upscale boutiques to nightclubs, yoga studios, bike rentals, and international cuisine. The downtown Auckland stop. This is your stop for Britomart, the Viaduct Harbour, the New Zealand Maritime Museum, and the Auckland Whale and Dolphin Safari experience. If you are returning to your cruise ship from here, walk a short distance to Quay Street, but please remain seated until we get to the stop.